Hi guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the Q4FY25 result update. I know I've been MIA. I mean, to the YouTube and the Twitter audience, right? I've been MIA, I guess, for the last probably a week. You might have not seen my videos, but as you know, we were doing the workshop. So as a result, I had to go through a lot of con calls. Like just make sure we're prepping for the workshop in a fantastic way. So that's why I've been MIA. And right, the workshop was great. It was so lovely to meet all of you guys because the best part about the workshop is just being able to interact with all of you guys. That's the thing. And anyways, the recording of the workshop is already uploaded on the website. So if you guys were not able to attend live, make sure you purchase a workshop. The recording of the workshop. I'm going to link the description box. I'm going to link. I'm going to link it in the description box below. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, let's just start. Today I'll be covering the. I think you would have already seen, right, in the heading. I will be covering the textile space today. Now, especially in the textile space, I will be covering the B2B part. Okay. I will also link another video in my description channel in the description, which is basically, like in Q2 of FY25, I have done, like a PPT explaining you the entire value chain of, how the textile space works. And, we've targeted every single, like probably player in the value chain as much as possible. So all the business model will be covered over there. So I'll just link that in the description. So now I think you would have seen already in the heading, right? In today's video, we will be covering the B2B side. So if you take the entire textile chain, there are three players over here, or you can tell three different segments. The first segment is one where you have the B2C players, which are directly targeting the customers with their own brands, such as Style Bazaar, V2 Retail, Gokaldas, Aditya Birla Fashion, all of these players. Then we have the middle category, where it is mostly, where it is mostly they manufacture the complete item. Let's say like this cloth or this pant, right? They manufacture that. Okay. And the third player or the third segment we have where they manufacture cotton. Where you convert a raw material into a fabric. Let's say a cotton, maybe silk. All of these things. So you have three different segments. We will target the second segment over here. Okay. So we will be covering totally over here 9 companies: Kitex, Casa Fashion, Eland Apparels, PDS Ltd, Welspun Living, Indo Industries, Pearl Global, Gokaldas Export, and SP Apparels. Okay. So we will be doing all of these things, and I'll also show an Excel at the end, which will compare the growth rate of all these companies, and we will do, like put them in a race ka analogy, like that. In a peer-to-peer, we will do it. Okay. One second, guys. Let me just turn off the light and see if there is not an issue. Oh, the lighting is so bad. The problem with this light is I've been having, because the only con about my work is I have to read so many con calls, which means I'm literally reading through laptops, right? So I'm taking notes also simultaneously. So what happens is, when my laptop, the screen time goes high over here, like 16 hours or so, which was literally the case in the last week, because we were prepping for the workshop. The last 2 days, I've been having the worst migraine, like literally the worst. I've been just only sleeping. I couldn't even like look at my phone, like it was just terrible. Like I've been popping like 3-4 Saridans, like it was just so bad. So anything, like a little glare, like maybe like too much light, or like too much noise also for that matter, it just again goes back and triggers. Yeah, that is why, even I could have started making the videos even yesterday, but it was just so bad, like so horrible, like I wish, those kind of migraines, even just not even for the worst of my enemies. That's how bad it was. Anyways, let us start. So the first company we will be doing over here is, again, we will cover all of the companies. The first we will do is Kitex, and then we'll go to Bella Casa. Okay. So Kitex, if you look at it, see, we knew clear cut over here, like this year they will do 1,000 crore in revenue. Okay. It was given because they had a clear cut guidance, like they will do so and so, amount of revenue every quarter. So it was not an issue over here, with respect to Kitex. And exactly Q4 also they ended in a very high note. Guidance the 1,000 crore, they did around 980, 990 crore, literally touching whatever they had guided for. And you will also see, right, sales is up by 73% on a Q4 on Q4. And agar aap dekhte ho, in terms of year on year, it is up by 59%. If you look at PAT also grew 62% on a Q4 on Q4 basis, and 142% on a year-on-year basis. So good amount of sales growth, good amount of PAT growth, great operating leverage has been visible. Okay. Now over here, as you know, they were putting up a new plant, right? In that Andhra Pradesh, Telangana region. Basically, they were putting up a plant over there. And the entire idea here is, they are starting a subsidiary called as Kitex Apparels Ltd, which is basically there they are going to put up this plant in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana respectively, in Warangal and Hyderabad. And this plant, will happen in in like two phases. Okay. Phase one will happen in Warangal. It should go live in this year, that is in April 2025. And phase two will happen in Hyderabad, which will go live in the next year. That is, I believe, in this year end. That is or in the next year, next year, right? This is 25. December 2026, it's supposed to go live. And they had told, like from this plant that they're putting up now in phase one, in the year 2025 to 2026, okay, that is this respective year, they should be able to clock 400 crore, okay, 400 crore from this plant from the first year should come. Now here is the thing, right? See, with Kitex, the thing is this year has been great. It has been fantastic. There is no doubt about this. But what about the upcoming year? See, because that is the main thing in Q4. Now, it's not about how well you have done. Market is a forward-looking engine. Aage jaake kya hoga? Will they be able to maintain the pace of growth? Will they be able to do this 50%, what they have been doing, right? Because on an average, every quarter, they've been growing at 50%. Will they be able to continue that? See, 400 crore is coming from this new plant in this year, FY25-26. Are we going to see like, or even the existing plant, will they run at the same capacity, like 1000 crore and plus maybe 400 crores from this new plant? So are we going to see like a 1400 crore kind of revenues in the upcoming year? That is roughly FY24 or 25, say 25, 26, if I take, that is roughly a 40% growth. Are we going to see that? Or, and the second thing is, how will the EPS ka projection look? Because this entire capex that they're doing now, it is the total cost of the capex is 3,550 crore. Okay. And it is going to be a mix of debt and equity. They will raise equity and they will get the money. But having said that, yahan pe depreciation, I guess, plan say employee cost badega. So are we going to miss out on operating leverage over here? So these are a lot of questions, we do not have answers to with respect to Kitex. Okay, so that ambiguity is little bit of a concern over here. Okay, and at the kind of valuation it is, when you have no EPS ka projection, when you don't even know how, forget EPS, when you don't even know where the sales is going to go, like it becomes very, 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 very difficult. Guys, I'm going to turn off the light, okay, because my headache has already started coming. The lighting of the video might not be great, but we just have to ball with it, because if I turn on that lights, I'll get again like a terrible headache. Then I won't be able to like make this video only. Okay, so that's it about Kitex. Okay. Second, we will talk about is Bella Casa. Okay. Again, I think I've covered Bella Casa already in one video, but I will do it again. Okay. Bella Casa, the only difference between Bella Casa and Kitex, the first is in terms of business model. If you look at Kitex is mostly oriented to 70 to 80% of the revenue comes by doing children ka cloth. Okay, and they are more into the export market. Bella Casa, they do all men, women, and kids, but they are targeting this value fashion retail. Like if you look at Bella Casa ka client, V2 Retail, Style Bazaar, Zudio is also their client. Okay, so you understand, na, ek to export market hai, dusra to domestic market hai, and also to the product category is completely different over here. Okay, so in a way, if you look at Bella Casa also, sales has been up by 43%. Similarly, PAT also has been up by 43%, both Q4 on Q4. Guys, again, after I complete talking about all the companies in detail, we will do a P2P. While doing a P2P, I will show you the Excel, so it makes complete sense. You don't have to worry about the aapko numbers mein samajh nahi aa raha hai and everything. When you see the Excel, numbers will be in front of you, then you will be able to. Right now, just follow up with the story. Okay, like how has the company been in this entire year, and what does the guidance look like for the upcoming year? So I will try to narrate it in as much as in a story form as possible, so it becomes easier for to stay captivated over here. Okay. So similarly, with Bella Casa also, the numbers has been fantastic. Operating leverage bhi mila. Even if you look at a full year basis also, sales grew by 51%, PAT grew by 57%. Now here, what is the advantage over here? I can tell you this. With Bella Casa, kya hua hai? Last time, if you see, with the existing plant, they have 3 plants in Rajasthan, okay? And if you look at the revenue is around like With these 3 plants, they're able to manufacture or, make 1 crore pieces a year. Okay, 1 crore pieces a year they can make. Now the plant is already running at 80 to 90% का utilization. It is running. ठीक है. Maximum any plant can go at 95% utilization. Now, so what they told was, the management told कि like अगले साल में they started since the demand is great and everything, they had a plan that they will put up a capex. They will do this along across that 3 plants that they have. They will put up another plant and take up the capacity from 1 crore pieces to 2 crore pieces. ठीक है. And this entire year 24 to 25, this was the plan कि like capex करना है, next साल हमें वो we have to increase the capacity. With the update they have given this year, they told कि like the plant in the Q4 का press release they mentioned that this plant is up 2 crore, we will be able to manufacture now 2 crore pieces per year. That is what we are doing. And इस साल में there were several quarters where थोड़ा सा operating leverage has been a miss, because again the same reason हमारा capex चल रहा था. As a result all of the expenses are upfront. Going forward our margin should improve. We should see an operating leverage come forth because of this new plan. Okay. So here is the thing, can you see a little bit an update ka difference over here? With Bella Casa they told they will do a capex. Abhi Q4 mein they told capex is done, we will be reaching that 2 crore pieces annually. And there has been a little bit of a flavor, a little bit of update next year. Okay. But again, obviously, right, it's not like ye log 2 crore pieces, like think about it, whenever you put up a plant also, it takes a certain period of time for you to reach that 90%, even 40% utilization में थोड़ा कम time लगता है, ठीक है. But having said that, at least they are giving an update telling like, see, we promised you that we will put up a capex has been done, we will start the production over here. Unlike Kitex, ठीक है, Kitex ने क्या बोला था, हम लोग capex कर रहे हैं, but as of now none of us know, right? Like none of us, at least none of us have an official information from the company ki like what is the status of the capex. Is it done? Aapne ko trial production mein kiya, or is it in the production? Kya ho raha hai? None of the updates. So that is I would say main difference over here between Bella Casa and Kitex. Even Bella Casa, if you look last year, that is FY23-24, if you see, they used to make around 60 lakh pieces per annum. This time they made 1 crore pieces per annum. So even you see there is a good amount of volume growth also you can witness from Bella Casa. Okay. So overall Bella Casa may also no problem. Okay. What we have to see is aage jaake, because of this capex, hopefully the capex gets live in Q1 or in Q2 itself. We have to see if this, because Bella Casa is a 40% ka growth engine, will they be able to maintain that 40% ka growth engine in the upcoming quarters? That is something we have to see. Okay. Now after that, the third company we have is Eland Apparels. Okay. Now Eland Apparels also, if you look at it, it is a B2B manufacturer. They make all this clothes, like men's clothes, women's clothes. Mostly they make a lot of women's clothes only. Okay. And उनका अगर आप देखते हो 80% comes from domestic market and 20% comes from export. इसका एक बड़ा risk है, because if you look at the top 3 customers that they have, they contribute almost 75% of the revenue. Now यहाँ पे एक customer भी चला जाता है ना, then the entire revenue can go like high force. That is the thing. But overall, even if you look at these people, it has been a very consistent performer for the last 1 year at least. अगर आप देखते हो, sales again grew by 35% in Q4 on Q4, and if you look at year on year also, sales grew by 40%. ठीक है. This is a very good, ये loss से profit जा रहा है. Last time if you look at it, the loss was at 40 crore, and this time they have made a PAT in terms of 14 crore in PAT. Similarly, अगर आप Q4 on Q4 देखते हो, last Q4 they were running at a loss of 7 crore. This Q4 they are running at a profitability of 7 crore. Cash flows is also great. Cash flows is also positive at the end of the day. Everything great. ठीक है. But again यहाँ पे Eland Apparel में क्या है ना, there is a little bit of a कि like आगे जाके what to expect. आपका कुछ plant है, how much in the existing plants, they have 2 plants, what is the capacity that they're running at, will you put up another capacity? There is no clue. Again, by the way, with Eland Apparels, okay, this information that I'm telling, take it with a pinch of salt. One thing about Eland Apparels over here is, actually the thing is, my mom works in a textile industry. Okay. So she's been working in the textile industry for the last 20 years, and like she knows everybody here in the textile industry, like literally every person, like Arvind Fashion se leke every single person, she's got the contacts. So Eland Apparel, this time what happened, again my mom's business ka competitor is actually Kitex Garment. It is not anybody else, because my mom ka company also, they do this children's wear, they do this children's ka clothes, and they do it for all this international brand. 100% export hai, even my mommy's business. So that is how it works. Again, when I tell my mom's business, my mom works over there. It's not like our business. That's the thing. So what happened this time was, in my mother's office, there was a lot of tailors left. They were not their capacity was not running, obviously, at 70-80% utilization. Eland Apparels ka, they had a lot of order book. Okay, this I'm talking about 2 months before. They had a lot of order book left, and they were running out of capacity. They didn't have enough tailors, to cater to the to cater to the work. So they asked my mom's company, if they could, they gave a contract manufacturing for my mom's company, if they would be able to manufacture these pieces. Okay, and यहाँ पे एक चीज है, I'll tell you this. If you are an Indian manufacturer, ठीक है, अगर आपको कोई Japanese client मिलता है, ठीक है, it doesn't matter if your Japanese client का revenue is probably 10% or 20% to the total top line, but you get a huge amount of respect if you onboard a Japanese textile company as a client over here in India. The reason is because most of the companies that you have in India who are doing the textile, the major export market is either Europe or America, ठीक है, because हमें margins यहाँ पे ज़्यादा मिलता है when you compare it to any other countries when you export. Not only that, the margin of error, is a bit more. Let's say, for example, if you're making 1,000 pieces, if you're manufacturing 1,000 pieces, you can have, let's say, 100 pieces can be kharab. That is what, यहाँ पे stitch proper नहीं है, buttons proper नहीं है. So 100 pieces को आप, it can go through the rejection process या reject में जा सकता है, ठीक है. So 10% का, almost 10% का error हो सकता है. It is completely fine, ठीक है. कुछ खराब होता है, let's say water में जाता है, कुछ है. But if you have a Japanese client, your margin of error is only 10. Okay, so out of 1,000 pieces, only 10 pieces kharab ho sakte hai. That is literally 1% error margin. Nobody wants to take that risk. Nobody, no, because it's not possible, ठीक है? Because यहाँ पे सारा का सारा काम चलता है आपका hand से, all of this, because most of this export market में ना, they get a higher margin when you, let's say, they like to sell like, oh, pure embroidery, handwork and all, all of this bullshit, they can sell it to all this, foreigners, ठीक है? And they can charge higher down. यहाँ पे they get that embroidery work done in absolutely like the cheap cost. So यहाँ पे क्या होते हैं ना, Eland Apparels, if you look at them, one of their promoters, I believe, was from South Korea या Japan कुछ है. So as a result, they have that, वो export market उनको easily it gets, with Japan especially. So these people have their Japanese client, and that is the thing. They have a lot of respect in the market because of that one thing, because like I told you, US and Europe market में अगर आप जाते हो, out of 1,000 pieces, 100 pieces can be, like खराब हो सकता है. It can have that error. That is completely fine. 10% of margin of error. With the Japanese client, it is only 1% of margin error you can have, and they are very, 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 very strict. Like it's crazy strict. Their quality control. उनका quality control का ही 10 steps होता है. Not just in terms of pieces, but also in terms of plant. Like your plant has to go through like see, if it is a Europe and US ka client, they don't care. All they care is you get dirt cheap labor and you get my pieces done. They don't care that much actually, as long as you're getting the work done. Only some clients actually care a lot, but with the Japanese client, it is like it is a huge headache. It is an absolute huge headache. That is why none of the Indian manufacturers, they want to cater to Japanese customers. Absolutely no, because the workers that you have over here, the laborers that you have over here, expecting that kind of standards, it's impossible. So that is the thing with Eland Apparels. Yeah, we'll have to see आगे जाके इनका क्या होता है, because as I think इनका already the 2 plants that they have one plant in Bangalore and Ramnagar, I believe. It's already running at like 80-85% utilization, but no clue if they're going to put up another plant or so. Okay. Then we will talk about is, now see, these 3 are like the main, I would say, B2B manufacturers in India. Okay. Other than that, we have, like I told you, the other companies that we have are PDS. हमारा क्या क्या है? PDS है, Welspun Living है, and then we have PDS, Welspun Living, Indo Industries, Pearl Global, Gokaldas, and SB Apparels. Okay. So over here, I will tell you the 3 companies, or that is Welspun Living, Indo Industries, and Gokaldas Export. Okay. Absolutely the worst of the lot, that most terrible of the lot are these 3. Why? Because if you look at these 3 companies, now these people have a lot of revenues coming from export market, especially in the Northern America, that is the US. Okay. And you know what is happening with the US, right? Like पूरा का पूरा यहाँ पे Trump is coming, एक बार टैरिफ बोल रहा है, इंडिया में 30% होगा, 40%, चाइना में 130%, फिर बोल रहा है चाइना में 30%. So there is a lot of ambiguity यहाँ पे. So as a a result, what is happening is the clients that are there, they're not placing the order, or they're revoking the order, or they're not letting you, giving you that go live ka, okay, go ahead with the production. They're not giving the sign. So iske wajah se, the entire sentiment with all these three companies is extremely bad. Okay? Not just bad, even the outlook for the upcoming year looks absolutely terrible. Okay, so if you look at Indo count industry also, you see that यहाँ पे इसका sales show है is up 16% on a year-on-year basis, but down by 6% on a Q4 on Q4 basis. Earlier they had given a guidance key, like the total volumes we will do, we will do 110 to 115 million meters हम करेंगे. They underperformed the guidance. They did 106 million meter. ठीक है, that is something 106 million meter में ही किया. Again, that is the thing. They underperformed on the volume guidance, and आगे जाके they're telling कि like there is a lot of this ambiguity. We won't be able to give guidance. We do not know how this situation will go forward. Similarly, अगर आप देखते हो Gokaldas Export also. Now here is the thing. When you look at Gokaldas Export, like just आप numbers देखते हो ना, you'll be like, oh wow, कितना है, like 35%, 30% का growth है. All of these things, you will see, but here is a catch. Gokaldas Export ने क्या किया था in this year FY24-25? They had acquired these two companies called as Atraco and Matrix. Okay, so in FY23-24 there was no revenue coming from Atraco and Matrix since they acquired it in 24. I believe in June of 24 they acquired it. So what happens? The base becomes bigger now. Now you're comparing it to a low base. Because of this acquisition only, आप देख सकते हो revenue इतना बड़ा. ठीक है, like you will see that 63% kind of growth on a year-on-year basis. But if you remove this acquisition, ना acquisition को अगर आप हटाते हो, the growth is only 19%. It's not a big deal. 20% का growth engine ही है. ठीक है. See, again, next year onwards, if you compare, it will be fine, because this entire year we've had Atraco and Matrix contributing to the revenue now. So next year, see, the base will be normalized, so it would be a right comparison. But other than this acquisition, the sales grew only by 19%. Okay? And again, over here also the same situation over here. Since 84% of the revenue is coming from US, a lot of the clients are not placing the orders. Yeah, varna the order already they have given, they are recalling it back, or I wouldn't say recalling it back. They're a little bit hesitant in order to increase the order over here. Okay? So this is there. That 90-day post tariff the thoda sa relief mila. But having said that, even these people, right, they're very reluctant to give guidance. The fact that when a management until now who's been so bullish on giving the guidance is being reluctant into giving guidance, it just shows you like यहाँ पे either problems are about to come, या problems are already there, and the management doesn't want to disclose it. Okay? So this is about Indo count industries and Pearl Global में बोल रही हूँ, Gokaldas Export. Even Welspun also, I would say, very mediocre set of numbers. Sales is up 3% only in Q4 and 9% in year-on-year. Why did this happen? Again, the same thing over here. कि like ये भी US में ज़्यादा export करता है. Same to same situation as Gokaldas Export only. कि like because of this tariff and everything, it becomes very difficult. Similarly, अगर आप देखते हो ना, अगर आप इसका भी देखते हो, the guidance is not that great. ठीक है, like they're targeting maybe, let's say, 15,000 crore by FY27. Okay? And ये भी they're telling कि like probably we can do it, maybe not. 15,000 crore अगर आप देखते हो, that's roughly 15 to 20% का CAGR. ठीक है? And again the same thing over here, they're telling कि like maybe or maybe not, because of one thing and one thing only. आगे जाके शायद again, because there could be global headwinds we cannot predict, even this 15,000 crore there can be plus and minus here and there. ठीक है? So that is the thing with both Gokaldas as well as क्या बोलते हैं Welspun Living and Indo count industries. I would say these are the worst of the lot in the B2B manufacturing space, B2B manufacturing of garments. I would say these are the worst of the lot, and probably I would put them, we have 9 companies in the race, and these 3 companies I would put it in the last to last position. Okay? Other than that, we will come now another 3 companies are left, that is PDS, Pearl Global, and we have SP Apparels. Okay? PDS, as you know, PDS is like it does everything. Okay? Let's say if I'm a company, okay? If I'm a company, and let's say I'll talk about this. Okay? If I'm a company, I have to source a material from a place. Let's say मुझे अभी like for example in my mom's office. Okay? You have to make this kids cloth. Now इसके लिए material चाहिए, right? Now it's not necessary that the company will get the material. क्या होते हैं मेरे मम्मी को office में, the client that is there, they will source the material from China. It is their responsibility to get the material from China to India. India. They will give it to my mother's company. My mother's company will manufacture the kids' clothes. They will put brand tag and they will export it. And somebody else will take the responsibility of collecting it from the dock and sending it to the various outlets in in US or Europe. Now PDS comes and PDS is like, bhai, I will take care of everything for you. I will source the material for you from a particular place. I will also design. I will only think about the design. I will only get it manufactured in Bangladesh for you in the because they have a lot of they know a lot of people in Bangladesh. They'll get it manufactured there for a cheap cost. I will also transport it to your warehouse, and us warehouse say I will transport it to your various retail outlets. Plus, after going to that retail outlets, agar aapko companies, maybe let's say you want to work on brand building, aapko marketing karna hai, everything I will take care of. So PDS is like that one-stop shop for for a company where either you can get one of this. Maybe let's say, for example, they you can ask PDS only to source a material for you, or they can do everything for you. Sourcing, manufacturing, everything they will do for you. Okay. So if you look at PDS, the entire year the target was to grow at 20 to 25% ka growth. That is what they had guided for. If you look right now, sales is up by 21% on a year-on-year basis, and agar up quarter-on-quarter, that is Q4 on Q4, if you see, it is up by 10%. Similarly, PAT also, if you look at it, PAT has been a little bit of a miss over here. Okay. PAT grew by 19%, so operating leverage has been a miss. If you look at the GMV, gross order value or gross merchandise value, yahan pe bolte hain, it is up by 25% on a year-on-year basis. Now, why was this operating leverage a miss? Because if you look at this, they have a client in the UK called as Matalan. Okay. Iska agar aap dekhte ho, consciously, they're scaling down on this business. Last year, if you see, it contributed 134 million. This time it is contributing 89 million. So because of this client, consciously they're reducing, because yahan pe inventories ka problem ho raha hai, credit, there is a lot of credit risk involved with this client. Since they're scaling this down, na, iske wajah se yahan pe, thoda sa, the margins has been affected. But having said that, also there is one negative thing over here. Okay, earlier they used to guide for 20% kind of growth. Okay, abhi bol raha hai for the next year, that is FY26, they're guiding for mid-teens. Mid-teens ka matlab kya hai? Either somewhere between 14% or 17%, somewhere in that range. Okay, which means what? This year you grew by 20%, 21%. Next year you're telling mid-teens, that could be somewhere between 14 to 17%. Do you see very clearly the pace of growth is coming down for the business, right? So that doesn't look good over here. Okay, so that is the thing. Another target that they have is that they would want to reach a 3 billion in terms of GMV. Abhi ka GMV is around 1.5 billion. But having said that, ultimately jab aapka pace of growth kam ho raha hai, and on top of that, you are a very razor thin, आपका PAT margin is very, very razor thin over here. And there is a lot of this global headwinds, right? US में clients are not willing to place an order. UK में इतना सा problem हो रहा है. So many things that are there along with pace of growth. Again, do you see over here? It is, again, there is nothing much interesting you can tell that is happening over here with PDS also. Okay. After that, I will tell you SP Apparels Limited. Okay. Even SP Apparels Limited, when you see the इसका अगर मैं business का बारे में बात करूं, they have 3 divisions. Okay, the first division is they make this garment. Okay, they make this shirts, various kind of shirts, men's wear, women's wear, and they export it. Okay, they don't do anything for the domestic market. They export these garments to outside countries. The second is उनका खुद का retail का division है. They have their own brands called as Crocodile, which is involved in making men's clothes, and Angel and Rocket, which makes children's clothes. 0 to 14 years old ऐसा clothes banata hai. By the way, if you're in Bangalore, they have an outlet in Indranagar, where Magnolia Bakery in Indranagar. It's in that area only. वहाँ पे है Angel and Rocket का, आप एक बार देख लो. It will catch your eye. Okay, so they have that retail ka business. And the third what they have is SP UK. Okay, SP UK is basically a subsidiary of theirs, which they had acquired during right before COVID. They had acquired. Okay, and यहाँ पे क्या करते, they do this design and everything. Let's say for example a company needs they would need some they would outsource the designing and everything. Now here they do more of the design work and everything. Okay. Now here what is the problem is because this SPUK and unka jo retail ka division na, it's completely dragging their margins down, absolutely dragging their margins down. Okay, with SPUK especially, since the time they have acquired na, yahan pe problem, because after they acquired, immediately COVID got hit, so obviously it turned into loss making. Uske baad, you remember, right? The entire Europe after COVID was facing with severe high inflation, and as a result, a lot of the retail outlets that were there, right, right after COVID, you had this huge jump in terms of demand, and everybody stocked up on the inventory, and after that, so much inventory is there, destocking of inventory happened. So a lot of these problems, and even now, SPUK has not been bounced back. Okay, now if I give you on a consolidated basis, you will see, if I combine all the three together and see, you will see that SP Apparels ka sales grew by 36% on a Q4 on Q4 basis, and you will see on a full year basis it grew by 27.5. Okay, now when you look at it, from a year on year basis, you will see, bhai, iska to pace of growth बढ़ gaya. Earlier it was a merely 20% का growth engine, अभी 30% कर रहा है. Q4 on Q4 almost 36%, 40% ये आप बोल सकते हो, right? Almost inching up towards that. But here is a catch, ठीक है? Remember I told you उनका एक garment division है, which is actually the main contribution to the revenue, ठीक है? Garment division. In this garment division, what happened recently? They acquired a company called as Young Brands Apparel. Okay, this Young Brands Apparel is a Chennai-based company which does this, आपका intimate wears. In roughly मैं हिंदी में बोलूँ, intimate wear is basically आपका चड्डी बनियान. Okay, so they make this intimate wears for a lot of these foreign companies. पूरा का पूरा export market है, ठीक है? So like all this Marks and Spencer, H&M, all of these brands, Victoria's Secrets, they make this intimate wears, for all these brands. Since they acquired this company in I believe in last year, somewhere around June, probably they acquired this company. Since they acquired this company this year, na, uska base aa gaya in this year. That is why you'll see, because of this acquisition, inka yahan pe agar aap dekhte ho, sales grew by 36% on a Q4 on Q4 basis, and on a year on year basis, it grew by 27.5. If this acquisition were not to happen, na, then probably the sales wouldn't have grown by this much amount. Okay, agar aap PAT dekhte ho, PAT hardly grew by 6% respectively, both on a Q4 and year-on-year basis. Why PAT has not, why they didn't get operating leverage, why the margin has been impacted? In fact, if you look at EBITDA margin was 15.8% last time. This time it is 14.2. Why was the EBITDA margin impacted? Like I told you, SPUK and retail ka division is causing them a lot of pain. SPUK ka agar aap dekhte ho na, EBITDA, if you look, last time EBITDA was 14 crore ka EBITDA. This time EBITDA is negative 34 crore. मतलब last time 14 crore का लॉस करा था, इस टाइम 34 करोड़ का लॉस किया. रिटेल डिवीजन ऑल्सो सेम ओनली, बोथ द क्रोकोडाइल ब्रांड एज वेल एज द एंजल रॉकेट ना, अभी भी एंजल एंड रॉकेट तो पूरा लॉस ही खा रहे हैं. क्रोकोडाइल थोड़ा सा इट इज गेटिंग अ लिटिल बिट क्लोजर टू ब्रेक इवन, बट स्टिल ना, एब्सोल्युटली no, like they're completely dragging down. Similarly, agar मैं growth का भी बात करूँ ना, in terms of sales growth, if I talk, only क्या बोलते हैं, that garment division, because of that apparels and that garment division का younger brand का acquisition के वजह से, the sales grew that 40%. Because SP Apparel UK, not much happening over there. ठीक है, like they are getting better little bit, I can say 30, even they grew by like around I would say 30%. But the other retail ka division na hardly single digit ka growth hai, I think they degrew by 5%. So that is the thing. Okay, now other than that, if you see, they are doing a lot of capex. Okay, capex mein to koi kami nahi chhod rahe, because the existing capacity that they have, it is all running at 80-85% ka utilization. Okay, so they put up a plant in Sivakasi which has already commenced operation in Q3 of FY25. Okay, what they're also doing is in Sri Lanka, they're putting up a lot of facility. Okay, they have a plant in Sri Lanka. Basically, agar aap dekhte ho na, unka as of now they have 6,300 machines hai. They want to take it up to in the span of next 2 years, they want to add 2,000 machines in Sri Lanka as well as 1,000 machine in India. Okay, so they're doing a lot of capex, but here is a but here. In spite of doing so much capex, na matlab 6,300 machines say they're making it go to 9,300 machines dal raha hai, right? They're leasing out a facility in Salem, and they're going to start over there also. Here is the thing, the guidance is very, very less. If you look at this entire year, including the acquisition, they did 1,400 crores. Aage jaake by FY27, they will be doing 2,000 crore by FY27. Okay. And in so 1,400 crore say 2,000 crore in a span of 2 years, that's roughly 20% ka CAGR. Next year they'll probably do 1,600 crore. So if I do in calculator 200 by 1,400, that's roughly 15% ka growth engine. Think about it, 15% ka growth engine. Our country का GDP is 7%. 7% में आप थोड़ा 5% का inflation डालो, 8, 9, 10, 12% का growth rate हुआ. This is growing by 15%. Like, I mean, if you are in the market, you're putting so much. I mean, see, don't take it as a buy and sell recommendation, but think about it now. You are putting your hard-earned money over here in the market, right? Most of us are doing that, and you are putting so many hours of research, and on top of that you're taking itna volatility आप ले रहे हो इस market में. So what is the point of, if you're putting so much of your time and effort, you should be targeting something with a higher growth rate, not something at 15 to 20% का 15 to 20% का growth rate. आप इतना time और energy लेके अगर आप कर रहे हो ना, it is a little bit of a, like I would say, waste of your time and energy, both of it. ठीक है? So that is that. Now, out of all of these companies, I would say the one company which is doing really, really good in terms of, garment manufacturing में, जो flawlessly execution कर रहा है, is Pearl Global Industries. ठीक है? अगर आप Pearl Global Industries का अगर आप देखते हो, company जो है, they manufacture men's wear, women's wear, for various brands like Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and everything. ठीक है? This company, if you look at it, one speciality about this company, unlike other companies, they have manufacturing plants. They have totally 23 manufacturing plants, and they have manufacturing plants spread out everywhere: Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, India. Everywhere they have this manufacturing plant. Okay. Now, if you look at this, inka 75% of the revenue comes from export. That is basically the work in UK, Australia, US ka market mein. Okay. Now, over here, if you see, again, इनका अगर आप sales देखते हो, sales grew by 20% on a Q4 on Q4 basis. 40% on a Q4 on Q4 basis. And अगर आप year on year देखते हो, it grew by 31%. ठीक है? Great. Even volume growth was 30%. ठीक है? Because last time they were doing 56 million pieces. This time they're doing 74 million pieces. Absolutely great set of numbers. Operating leverage भी मिला उसको, because if you look at the PAT grew by 42% on a year on year basis. अगर आप capex के भी बारे में बात करते हो ना, capex भी बहुत तगड़ा का capex चल रहा है, because FY25 they spent, I think, almost 135 crore. In FY26 they're going to spend 260 crore. Okay, they're putting up a plant in Bangladesh, in India, as well as in little bit in Sri Lanka also. They're increasing the capacity. ठीक है? So capex में भी उनको कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. If I have to talk about it, ठीक है? Very, very excellent set of capex, because as of now, they have उसका अगर आप देखते हो ना, they can produce around 5 to 6 million pieces in Bangladesh, and around 2.5 to 3.5 million pieces in India they can do. But with the capex that they're taking now, they can increase the capacity to up to 8 million pieces itself. Probably in India, probably in Bangladesh only. So very, very तगड़ा capex कर रहा है. ठीक है? But the problem over here is क्या है? In spite of doing all this capex and everything, all of it they're doing. ठीक है? The problem here is in terms of, since the base थोड़ा बड़ा है यहाँ पे, valuation is a little bit expensive, because the guidance is they want to reach, around, 4,000. They did around 4,000 crore of revenue this year. ठीक है? And the guidance is, to reach around, like, 14 to 15% kind of growth they're targeting, by FY28. ठीक है? So that is the thing, like, 14 to 15% kind of growth by FY28. Probably they might overperform only, and they might do, but still, right, अगर आप 14 to 15% कर रहे हो, जब एक, I think 1 year forward P is around 40, that is a little bit, like, I don't know, it is a little bit of a tough to digest. So that is the thing. I'll share my screen. Now we will do a P2P analysis, and I can show it to you. Okay. Okay. So before we go, before I start with this P2P analysis, let us then talk about the demand. Okay? Because see, the entire B2B manufacturing space, one thing that you will see is, I think the most common tweet you will see is, one is people are telling Bangladesh +1, China +1, and the second thing is UK FTA ka deal. See, first of all, one thing I'll tell you, No companies, even Pearl Global. See, Pearl Global has so many facilities in Bangladesh. PDS has so many facilities in Bangladesh. Okay? I mean, they don't have facilities, but they have a lot of manufacturing plants that they lease out and get the work done. Okay? None of them are having to say anything negative about Bangladesh at all. They are like, bhai, jo problem tha wo ho gaya. Because think about it now. Think about it. Let's say, even though the government ka instability है and whatever it is there, अगर जो government आपका आपका दिन का रोटी कपड़ा मकान आपसे छीन रहा है, do you really think you will then later go and vote for that government? Nobody will do. So that is also not happening. But before I go explain this in detail regarding this, Bangladesh ka crisis and and this UKFTA deal and everything, let me tell you one thing. जो Bangladesh and China कर रहा है in terms of textile and everything, just the क्या बोलते हैं आपका deals, just the tariff ka is not really going to help. Why? Because the biggest issue with the textile industry in India is laborers. Okay, that is the biggest problem in India. Okay, now what I mean by laborers ka problem is, I'll tell you this. First of all, what is the advantage that China has over us? Okay, China mein ek plant mein, they do 4 shifts. Okay, they do four shifts, in one day. Okay, and wahan pe there is no problem because China as a city is safe. Like if anybody has a chance, visit Guangzhou in China. Okay, because really beautiful. But bhai sahab, kya efficiency hai? Like they will put up a manufacturing plant, like fully fledged manufacturing plant in 4 to 5, 7 days, bro. And here एक line लगाने में आपको एक permission लेके GST लेके वो सब लेके it takes you 6 months. They have, like, the efficiency is like fucking bonkers, like it's crazy. Okay, and they have that 4 shift efficient, they have that 4 shift. यहाँ पे इंडिया में क्या है, you can never do, forget 4 shift. भाई साहब 2 shift करने में ही आपका वो companies का पूरा का पूरा फट जाता है. Why? Because majority of the workers that you have in the textile industry are women. ठीक है. Now the problem with women is what? Obviously they are a bit reluctant to work at night. ना safety का issue आता है. Their husbands won't let them work at night. Their fathers won't let them work at night. So as a result, you can never get this 2 shifts, 3 shifts over here. एक ही shift चलता है यहाँ पे. ठीक है. So that is one advantage that China has over us. The second thing over here is, obviously, right, the only way we can win against China is when आपका इतना tariff लगा दो China के ऊपर, it becomes terrible, it becomes very too expensive for for the companies to get it manufactured from China, that they have to get it manufactured from India. Now here is the thing, with Bangladesh also it becomes very difficult to compete, is because Bangladesh is an absolute poor country, garib desh hai, okay? They will work, they will work 15, 16 hours for like $3, $4, bro. Like one tailor will work for 15 hours for $3. Inke liye wahi kafi hai. In India, you are going to pay $8, for just like 8 to 10 hours of work, you are going to pay $8. You are paying double the price for the workers and lesser number of hours. Again, who would want that? Let's say if I own Calvin Klein, why would I want that? I'm getting more work done in Bangladesh than compared to India. और मुझे तो यहाँ पे ज़्यादा पैसा भी डाल रहा है. So this is another problem. It becomes very difficult for you to do both. The third and the most important thing, which nobody will tell you in con call, again, this is because, like I told you, my mom works in the textile industry. यहाँ पे बड़ा सा बड़ा problem क्या है ना? क्या बोलते हैं वो, retention rate in terms of workers. Why does this retention rate happen? ठीक है. अगर आप देखते हो this textile industry में जो काम करता है, all these workers that are there, the women that are there, the tailors that are there, ये लोग आते from which area? From this Assam, Tripura, Odisha, West Bengal, Bihar. ठीक है. Absolute, like they do not have any money. Absolute, like they are very very poor people. And the other thing is ये लोग पढ़ाई नहीं करते. They don't have any education. These women and the men also, they live in a very higher patriarchal society. ठीक है. Like like पूरा का पूरा. In लड़कियों को they don't send them to school or anything. ठीक है. Then क्या होता है? They send them to all these training centers. Now what the government has done, you would have seen this skill yojana or Ayush yojana where you train a person even though they're not educated, उन्होंने शायद 10वीं पास नहीं किया होगा. You train them on a certain skill set. Okay. So what will happen? The government sets up all these different क्या बोलते हैं? different एक ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स करता है, द गवर्नमेंट फंड्स दिस ट्रेनिंग सेंटर. सो ऑल ऑफ दिस पीपल जो ये बिहार ओडिशा में है, दे कम, दे गेट द ट्रेनिंग. नाउ एज अ कंपनी, लेट्स से फॉर माय मम्स कंपनी, obviously now think about it, if I just go randomly start hiring, मुझे उनको I have to train them according to the standards of my company, ज्यादा expenses पड़ता है. So what they go is they go to these various training centers which are there in the north of India. If they get the workers on a contract basis. Okay, you have to pay the training center certain commission, and you get them, and you get the workers over here. Okay, even it's like a win-win process, because for a company, आपका training cost, but you save a training cost over here. On the other hand, for the workers also, it is, because you think about it now, who will randomly come for training? But अगर आप उनको बोलते हो ठीक है, you come here, you get trained here for a year, आपको job भी मिल जाएगा अगर आप करते हो, then many people will be willing to come and take the training, थोड़ा skillful बनने का, even they will put an effort. So it is a win-win situation. Okay. Now the clause of this training center that is there is, see, because all of these people are in that Bihar, Jharkhand, in that area. Now if they're coming to a completely new city, obviously the contract that they have, these government training centers have with the companies, you are responsible for the safety of these individuals. Okay, you are supposed to provide house or a hostel for them, you are supposed to provide 3 meals, you are supposed to provide water, every single facility that is there, which the company agrees, and they get the workers over here, they provide them with all the facility. That is why you see na sabka, if you go to Hosur especially, right, you will see a big facilities रहता है, a company के अंदर ये सब hostels रहता है. Another, if you want to understand the textile industry, you can go to this Telangana region also. Arvind, by the way, Arvind Fashions जो है, they are putting up this mammoth facility over there. Okay, like crazy facility they're putting up over there. So anyways, now they come over here. Okay, they come over here. See, all of these girls now, they've been, they come under this very like patriarchal society में आता है. ठीक है, उनको freedom नहीं मिलता, 4 बजे के बाद आप घर नहीं, घर के बाहर नहीं जा सकते. All of these, now they come to, like them coming all the way from Jharkhand to Bangalore, it feels like they've come to US. ठीक है, मतलब गांव से आप शहर में आते हो, बड़ा बिल्डिंग है, लोग है यहाँ पे, and nobody to control you, unlimited amount of freedom, कोई आपको फोन भी चेक नहीं करता. So what these people do is, they get into like all these bad habits and everything. उनका love का चक्कर चलता है, affairs चलता है. Obviously, village में they won't let them marry like any random guy. Caste का system सब रहता है. Here what will happen, they come here, they work for 3 months, they meet somebody, they fall in love, and they run away. पूरा भाग ही जाता है. So this is why the retention is very high in the textile industry. ठीक है, all these women, the men that are there, and यहाँ पे these people, they don't care. उनका like ठीक है, यहाँ पे काम नहीं मिला, मैं कुछ और करके काम करूंगा, because ultimately they don't care about the future. उनका daily wages का worker है. So it's not, I'm not working in the textile industry, मैं किसी और के घर में जाके काम करूंगा. ठीक है, they work on this mindset. ठीक है, so this is the huge problem, in terms of the textile industry. ठीक है, and not only that, like see, in terms of competitors also यही होता है. ठीक है, like see, आपका इतना orders होते, इतना production होता है ना, ultimately अगर आपको, let's say, if you do something and my mom's company throws you out, there will be some other company to take you in. क्योंकि क्या होता है, everybody knows इनका हालत ही ऐसा है. So even they are like, ठीक है, चलो bye, ले लेते हैं उनको. So if they also don't have any fear, because they know कि like, उनका demand है. So if not for this company, we'll go to some other company and work. And see, these people don't have that medical facility or any of that, right? उनका insurance सब नहीं रहते. They literally are like a daily wage worker in a corporate structure. ठीक है, literally same ही होता है उनका. So इतना high retention है ना, which you will not see. ये सब problem ही नहीं रहता है in Bangladesh, because like I told you, Bangladesh is such a poor country. Like they will do anything for you. ठीक है, they will work for $3-4 for 15 hours. यहाँ पे you will not work. And on top of that, when you have so much retention, and the problem is, when you have so much retention, a manufacturer can't rely on you. Like see, for example, you have this Zara, H&M, like very fast fashion brand, where they get you new designs every week, which means what? You have to have, efficiency has to be 90% in terms of, your workers and your factory, which you will get in Bangladesh. So tomorrow I want a design, I know I'll put it in the system, get it done, manufactured by these people. Immediately hota hai, theek hai. Who cares? I know everybody will be like, oh, global warming, manufacture and everything. But think about a consumer's point of view. Who cares? Sasta kapda mila, acha fashion mila, you will buy it. Usme thoda branding chipka, you will get it. Nobody cares. Unfortunately, that is the reality. Okay? All everybody wants to do is profit, and do so, at a minimal cost, which you get in Bangladesh, which you don't get in India. So that is a problem over here. Now, when you talk about, so this is a huge problem in the Indian textile industry over here. And you can tell all you want, like Bangladesh, China, +1, that one. It is See, I'm not telling it is impossible, but please understand it is very, very hard to do what China and Bangladesh has done in India. It is extremely, extremely hard for someone who's seen this industry on a ground level. The third thing over here is the UK FTA का deal जो चल रहा है, ठीक है? See, again, UK FTA का deal say what? If let's say for a client, it is, you get a 10% का tax relief. It is better to get it done in China compared to, let's say, Sri Lanka. In fact, over here, the tax rate for Indian Textile was higher. Okay? So all the Sri Lankan companies and Bangladeshi companies, they had a little bit of a higher edge compared to India. Now kya hua hai? You have all come in the same rate. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India, everybody are in the same zone. आप बोल सकते हो, ठीक है? So obviously यहाँ पर भी थोड़ा एडवांटेज है. बट सी अनदर थिंग ओवर हियर इज जस्ट बिकॉज यूके एफटीए का डील है doesn't mean it will everybody in this space. What I see is something, some news aate, then everybody goes on to invest in these companies. But please understand over here, just because एक deal हो रहा है between two countries doesn't mean everybody in the space is going to get materialized over here, ठीक है? Because think about this ना, ये सब to get an order to that deal you have to have higher growth rate. अगर growth नहीं है तो कुछ नहीं चलेगा. How will you be able to, ठीक है वो डील है, but how will you be as a company to able to materialize from that deal? Will you change your geographical concentration from some other place to UK? Will you increase your capacity? Maybe by increasing the capacity higher growth rate आएगा. But if you look at all these companies ना, किसी का भी ये कुछ plan ही नहीं है, so that they will get materialized, by this UK FTA deal. Probably Kitex Garment, because they have a lot coming from export again, but unfortunately वहाँ पे इतना ambiguity है, you can't really tell they would be a directly they will be affected in a positive way. So that is the thing, okay? So all these things are there. So do not invest based on कि like एक news, एक कुछ हो रहा है because of that. Because remember ना, ethos का भी एक deal चला था. Switzerland and India का ethos का, Switzerland and India signed an FTA agreement because of which the import duty on the watches is supposed to be reduced, and as a result EBITDA margin is supposed to increase. It's been 1 year for that deal, it has happened, ठीक है? Switzerland and India का ethos का margins बढ़ा, अभी भी वो 17-18% का ही margins है. So this is a thing. Please do not invest based blindly on some rumor, on some deals that is happening between two countries. Ask yourself if this company, will they really benefit from the deal? If so, how will they do? Will they change their geographical expansion or your concentration? Will they do a capacity? Maybe because of this deal, their order book is increased. Now, in order to cater to the order book, in order to cater to the growth rate, are they doing a capacity? Do they have the space in order to cater to the order book? These are the questions you need to answer. Okay. Now, if I have to do a P2P analysis, let me tell you right off the bat, the last people in the list is, like I told you, Indo count, Welspun, and Gokaldas. I will put everybody in this third space because FY26, is very ambiguous for them. Even if they grow, they'll probably grow at 15 to 20% का range. I have done these two in yellow color is because ये जो high growth rate है ना, 62 and 27%, it is coming from an acquisition. For Gokaldas Export, it was that company Atraco and Matrix, and for SP Apparels, it is Young Brands. ठीक है? Because of these two acquisitions, इनका इतना high growth rate है. If it weren't for this acquisition, Gokaldas exports ka growth rate is 20%. SP Apparels, they have it given without acquisitions kitna hai, and with acquisition kitna hai. Out of these three also, probably the worst is Welspun, followed by Indo count, followed by Gokaldas. Okay? If I want, I'll do that also. That would be much better. Welspun I'm putting last because look at the growth rate na, hardly like kitna hi hai Welspun ka, 9% ka growth rate. Indo count even more horrible, they missed out on the guidance. Okay? Volume guidance, they really missed out. And Gokaldas, like I told you, 20% ka growth rate, and FY26 doesn't look great for them with all this tariff ka thing. Okay? Other than that, if you look, we have PDS and we have Pearl Global. PDS has reduced the guidance, as you know, right? PDS ka, earlier they were growing at a 20% ka growth engine. Now they're telling it will be a mid-teen growth, which is like a 14 to 17% ka range up, samajh lo. Okay? Other than that, if you see Pearl Global, I really like Pearl Global, but Pearl Global ka thoda hai ki like, it becomes very difficult for you to get a P rating. It is not impossible, it is just difficult. But in the entire B2B manufacturing space, apparel manufacturing space, They are literally one of the best companies. Growth rate है, operating leverage है, capex है, सब कुछ कर रहा है, सब जगह में उनका, they have manufacturing plants. So even if this UK FTA deal happens now, maybe instead of manufacturing it from Sri Lanka, they can start catering from India ka manufacturing plants to UK, and vice versa. They can keep juggling around. So that is one of the bigger advantages they have. Okay. Now if I have to compare यहाँ पे Eland Apparels and Pearl Global, I would say Pearl Global I would actually prefer, because Pearl Global में there is a little bit of clarity. At least they're targeting उनका थोड़ा guidance है 14 to 15% at least. They're planning to grow. But having said that, you understand valuations भी थोड़ा expensive है, and on top of that आगे जाके growth rate is coming down, because like I told you, they are planning to grow by 14 to 15%. If everything goes well, they can even do more. Eland Apparels, like I told you, lot of ambiguity. We do not know what is happening. Okay, so probably PDS and Eland, sorry, not PDS, Pearl Global and Eland, I would put in the I will put in the same position. But I would say, like, Eland is more like a turnaround story, loss se profit mein chal raha hai. On the other hand, Pearl Global, at least it has a little bit of a structural play going on. Then Kitex and Casa, I would put it in the first category, because if you see, right, they have the highest growth rate compared to anybody in both of the spaces. See here, 59%, 51%. Nobody iska aas-paas bhi nahi aa raha hai. Again, you might tell me 62%. Please remember, Gokaldas Export grew by 19% only, not 62%. It is 19%. 62% is a one-time thing because of the acquisition. So can you see over here why I'm putting Casa and Kitex at first position? Only and only because uska FY25 ka sales growth hai, it is highest. Now the real question is, can they continue to be in the first position? That is a big question mark, because we do not know what the upcoming year looks like. At least with Casa, a little bit of hope is there, only and only because like aage jaake uska capex is already done, right? They are so if it gets materialized really quickly, they can start adding to the top line. That shouldn't be a problem. But with Kitex, what do you expect for the upcoming year? Like, it's like Momaya, matlab kya chal raha hai Telangana mein, Warangal mein, God knows. Is that plant constructed? The plant is constructed, because maine kya kiya na, that I saw that in Google. You can check in the Google Maps, right? Like last year there was nothing, abhi thoda like kuch structure hai. But having said that, is it in trial production? Is it in ki like kya chal raha hai wahan pe? It is a big question mark. So that is that makes me a little bit scared, a little bit, I think, like I would say a little bit fearful yahan pe for Kitex and Kitex ki, like how will the EPS growth look like? It's again, that is a little bit of a question mark. But but they have a higher probability of growing also at the same time. It's a 50-50 bet, you can tell. Like I told you, Kitex is supposed to make 400 crores this year from the plant. If they continue to make 1000 crore as they have done this year from the existing plants, and 400 crore from the new plant, that is roughly 40% of growth rate, which is not bad. Okay, so that is the thing. Let's see. This is something I'm really interested to see in the upcoming quarters. If Kitex and Casa, will they be able to retain this position or not? But if not for Kitex and Casa, Pearl Global, I would say, is really fabulous, because you see, sabka halat dekho yahan pe, theek hai, kuch growth nahi hai, hardly anything. When you see this Gokaldas, Indo count, Welspun, hardly anything. And on top of that, Pearl Global is doing 30% and all. So really lot of respect, and nobody is doing capex like them. Ye har saal kuch na kuch capex karke apna production badhate hai. Really nice, really nice management also, with so much clarity that they answer all the questions. Okay, so that's that about the let me stop. That's that about the textile industries, B2B manufacturing space. I hope all of y'all had great fun listening to this. And yeah, again, just a small reminder ki, like, agar aapko wo recording, if you have to purchase, you can purchase it from the link in the description box below. And starting from 15th of June, that is there, we will be hiking up the prices to $12.99. So that's the thing. Okay. So anyways, that's that for today's workshop. Yeah, sorry, today's video. I'll probably make another video, probably on hospital space. Let us see. Depends. I hope I don't get a migraine even today. That's that, guys. I hope all of y'all have a great day. Bye.